Year, Alberta sold more than $160 billion of goods to the United States, including more than $130 billion of energy, which does get tariffed, but only 10%, not 25%. Thank you for joining us. What is your reaction from what you just heard from Trudeau?
So disappointing. We've been doing everything we can, not only our federal government, but all of the subnational governments to try to avoid this outcome. As you heard, we've been working on the border, and we've been putting up drones, putting up helicopters, putting up more personnel. We've been very successful in stopping people from coming across the border from the United States. We've been stopping drugs from coming across the border from the United States. We've brought those numbers down. We thought that was what the U.S. president wanted. And to see this escalation is so disappointing, so damaging initially to American consumers and American businesses who buy Canadian goods and raw materials. But then now with the counter tariffs, it's also going to be harmful to Canadian consumers. No one wins a tariff war. And so we want to go back to looking at the agreement that we signed, the USMCA, that has served us well for a number of years. And I don't know why the president is behaving this way, because it's illegal. We're going to challenge it. And we would like to get back to negotiating some of the pressure points on that.
How bad is it going to be for Alberta economically?
I must say, like, I've talked about the 10% tariff with our producers and those who sell the goods, and then everyone's going to take a little bit of a bite on that. Our producers are, the refiners in the United States are going to have higher costs. American consumers are going to have a higher cost. You're going to see it, the price at the pump, more so in the areas where refineries are 100% reliant on Canadian oil. So it's, and as you know, if you increase the cost of energy, you increase the cost of everything. So it's going to have an inflationary effect in the U.S. We're already seeing the effect on the stock market today. Investors don't like the decisions that have been made today. And the best move would be to try to de-escalate as quickly as possible. Let's get down to talking about what the real issues are, as opposed to a pretext, and then solve those irritants so that we can get on with having the best tariff-free relationship that I think any two nations have in the world.
Premier, do you think this is truly about fentanyl?
I think it was, but I think we've demonstrated, I have to tell you, like, when I'm looking at the bus that we have at the border, it's cocaine and crystal meth coming up from America. So these are issues that are two-way issues. America has cartels and organized crime that are causing problems for us. And we recognize that it is a two-way street. They should too. We want to be able to address those issues collaboratively, share the intelligence, but to act as if this is only a one-way problem. Remember, there's a lot of distance between Canada and Mexico. There's a big country in the middle, and so we are not the root of a lot of the problems. We in fact are having some spillover effect of those problems, as we've noticed as we've started doing a lot more work and stoppages at the borders. You're going to see more of that now that we found so many drugs coming up from the United States. We're going to have to do more stops of American trucks coming across the border so that we can stop that too. We're doing our part to be able to bust the fentanyl operations that are happening in our country as well. But I think that this is a problem we should be working on collectively, rather than pointing fingers suggesting it's just a one-way street. It's not.
Yesterday, we heard from Doug Ford of Ontario with this threat about raising taxes, let's say, on electricity that is shipped to the U.S. Today, the Journal headline lays out exactly that. Are there varying levels of appetite to retaliate within some of the premiers in Canada?
I've already said that we're not going to retaliate on energy. That is such an essential product for American consumers and American businesses. We want to make sure that we've got some, 4.3 million barrels a day going into the United States. We want to make sure that flow continues, albeit it's going to be a little bit more expensive because of the 10% tariffs. But I would say that we would rather be talking about ways in which we can remove tariffs altogether. What you'll see with the tariffs that have been imposed today, 30 billion with another 125 billion to come in 21 days, is focused on things that we can easily replace, that we can find other sources, whether it's Canadian sources, whether it's sources from Mexico, whether it's sources internationally. And the problem that American producers are going to face is that as we start changing those supply chains, those can get stuck, and it's hard to go back to relying on an unreliable trading partner. So I would say the sooner this gets resolved, the better, because one of the things that Americans need to understand is that we are your best customer. We buy more goods and services from you than anyone else in the world. And so when you put these tariffs in place, it means that we're just going to buy less from America.